One of the most memorable MOTWs for the U.S. military occurred in the early 1980s on the Caribbean island of Grenada. This former British colony, with a population of around 110,000, fell into political strife after the country's Prime Minister, Sir Eric Gairy, was ousted in a coup. Taking power was Maurice Bishop, who led the Marxist People's Revolutionary Government, or PRG. Bishop's regime developed ties with the communist island of Cuba and the Soviet Union. In October 1983, Bishop was murdered by Deputy Prime Minister Bernard Coard during a second coup. It was then, as law and order deteriorated, that the island's British representative appealed for international assistance. The United States organized and led a force of Caribbean countries to oust the PRG, to ensure the safety of U.S. citizens on the island and to restore democracy. The United States Marine Corps was to pacify the northern half of the island, while the U.S. Army was to pacify the south. The Marines went into action on the morning of October 25th, landing by helicopter at Pearls Airport, where they were attacked with small arms fire from the PRG's military wing, the People's Revolutionary Army, or RPA. U.S. Army Rangers, meanwhile, performed a parachute landing at Point Salines Airport to evacuate U.S. students holed up at the St. George's Medical Center near the airfield.
We're down here, glad to see you all, as I hope you are to see us. You owe one hell of a lot of thanks to these guys who went in and got you out.
After the Rangers secured the airfield, they began moving toward the capital of St. George's. At the same time, they were reinforced by the 82nd Airborne Division, which flew in reinforcements and equipment. At first light on the 26th, U.S. troops began their final assault on the capital. The drive into the city met resistance from the PRA and their Cuban comrades. The Marines and Rangers relied on naval air support for added firepower. A few hours later, Sir Paul Scoon, the island's Governor General and representative of the British Crown, was freed from house arrest. However, the job was not complete, and action continued into a third day. The PRA occupied Fort Adolphus, Fort Matthew, and Richmond Hill Prison at points above the capital. These were well defended, and aircraft attempting to attack enemy positions were greeted with strong anti-aircraft fire. The strength of the resistance cost the U.S. 3 helicopters. While the Marines were battling it out, the 82nd Airborne moved to the military barracks near Point Salines and attempted to break the stubborn resistance there. By the 28th, all serious resistance crumbled. The U.S. and Caribbean forces performed mop-up operations after linking up at Ross Beach. Relieved at their liberation, Grenadians also turned in PRA fighters and discovered arms caches. By November 2nd, military operations ceased, and the mission was declared a success. With democracy restored, the island's inhabitants could now go about rebuilding their lives. In all, the operation required 5,000 U.S. soldiers, along with 300 troops from the Caribbean. They confronted a force of over 2,000 troops, made up of PRA, Cuban, Russian, and other communist forces. The operation was not without cost, however. 18 U.S. troops were killed and 116 were wounded.